Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in our lives where we stop asking, "Why are they treating me this way?" and start asking, "Why am I still allowing it?" Emotional peace isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you protect fiercely. This isn't a speech about being colder or tougher. It's about becoming clearer, because when you understand the difference between someone speaking from love and someone speaking from pain, you stop letting every jab, every silence, every accusation define you. Today, we're not reacting, we're rising, and we're learning to guard our worth without needing anyone's permission. There's a reason two people can say the same thing, and yet only one leaves a lasting sting. It's not just what's said, it's what's behind it. The energy, the unresolved story, the wounds that never got a chance to heal. Because people don't always speak from wisdom or clarity. More often, they speak from pain, and when that pain hasn't been processed, it spills onto whoever's closest. Sometimes that ends up being you. Someone who once felt abandoned might accuse you of being distant the moment you enforce a boundary. Someone battling deep insecurity may label you arrogant just because you walk with confidence. Someone still punishing themselves for old mistakes might judge you for your imperfections. That's not truth. That's projection their past, not your present. Unhealed people leak emotionally. They don't aim their pain at its source, they direct it at the safest target nearby. And unless you learn to see it for what it is, you'll keep internalizing it. You'll start questioning your worth, dimming your shine, softening your voice, all because someone else hasn't made peace with their past. You'll carry weight that was never meant to be yours. This doesn't mean you excuse disrespect. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. But it does mean you stop assuming that every accusation, criticism, or emotional outburst is a reflection of you. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" you start wondering, what pain might they be speaking from, and not to make excuses for them, but to protect yourself from false responsibility. Pain doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through sarcasm, passive-aggressive remarks, or subtle undermining. The friend who downplays your wins might be haunted by their own feeling of inadequacy. The partner who's overly suspicious of your love might still be trying to heal from betrayal that came long before you. The coworker who constantly competes may be replaying old patterns of never being enough. These behaviors are rooted in their journey, not in your character, but if you're not conscious, they'll start shaping yours. That's why emotional boundaries are not optional, they're essential. You need to know where you end and where someone else begins. You can empathize without absorbing, be compassionate without collapsing. You can be near someone's chaos without losing your own center. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is not engage the role they've cast you in. When someone projects, they're not seeing you. They're seeing a reflection of their own fear, their past, their wound. Your role is not to become that reflection. Your role is to stay anchored in who you truly are. You may be called selfish when you stop overextending, cold when you stop over-explaining, distant when you choose boundaries over burnout. You may even be told you've changed, and maybe you have. Maybe you've stopped betraying yourself to earn closeness. Maybe you've finally chosen your own peace over their projections. Let them feel what they feel. Let them say what they need to make sense of their discomfort, but you stay rooted, stay clear, stay compassionate but firm, because once you stop taking the projections personally, you break the cycle. You stop playing defense against someone else's unhealed story. You realize some people aren't searching for understanding, they're searching for someone to absorb their blame. And when you refuse to carry what isn't yours, they'll either confront their truth or find another place to unload it. You don't owe anyone your identity just because they feel lost in theirs. You don't need to bend your growth to fit their comfort. You don't have to shrink to stay connected. Real connection requires ownership, not blame. Healing, not projection, so let them project if they must. Let them misinterpret, misunderstand, and mislabel. That's their work, not yours. And as for you, stand tall in your truth, even if their voice trembles in theirs. There's a quiet kind of power in choosing to leave, not with a slam, not with a scene, not with one last desperate plea, but with calm, grounded dignity. Walking away without a fight doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough to no longer stay where care wasn't being returned. You're not storming out to get noticed. You're not hoping they'll run after you. You're not writing a dramatic final message. You've simply decided that your peace is worth more than convincing someone to value you, because real self-respect doesn't scream at exits. It stops asking to be heard by someone who's not listening. It no longer spends time proving its worth to someone who couldn't see it. You stop trying to be understood by someone who's more committed to staying distant than growing closer. It hurts, of course. There's still a part of you that wants validation. You still hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll wake up and say, "I get it now, I was wrong." But that hope no longer keeps you stuck. You've reached the point where peace matters more than being right, more than being chosen, more than being chased. You realize that being seen shouldn't come with conditions, that love shouldn't be proven over and over again to someone who only watches, never acts. And when it starts to feel like you're giving while they're simply tolerating, something in you shifts, quietly, permanently, so you stop replying to half-hearted messages. You stop initiating conversations that always feel one-sided. You stop bringing your full heart to someone who shows up halfway, not out of bitterness, but out of finally understanding your worth. They might notice the silence. One day, your absence may echo louder than your words ever did. They'll scroll and find no trace of your presence, no good morning texts, no check-ins, no more explanations, just space, and in that space they may realize something is missing, but by then you've already reclaimed what they never cherished, yourself. This isn't about revenge. It's not about proving a point. It's about reclaiming your peace without needing permission or performance. You're not punishing them with your distance. You're honoring yourself with it. You're no longer handing over your joy to someone who doesn't know what to do with it. You've spoken enough. You've asked for clarity enough times. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. You waited, hoped, extended grace. And still you were met with silence, mixed signals, or just enough effort to keep you from walking. But now you're walking, not loudly, not bitterly, just with finality. No paragraphs, no tears, no closing arguments, just movement forward. There will always be moments when someone strikes a nerve, a passing remark, a passive-aggressive jab, a boundary that's crossed without apology. And in that instant, your body reacts. Your chest tightens, your face flushes, your mind prepares its defense. That's your emotional reflex flaring up, telling you, say something now, protect your worth, prove you're not the problem. But here's the hard truth. Not every provocation deserves your presence. Not every reaction is power, and not every situation is worthy of your energy. Some people don't want peace. They want control. They test your patience not to find connection, but to pull you into a tug-of-war of attention. They'll press on your old wounds, not for healing, but to rattle your sense of self. If they can disrupt your calm, they get to feel strong, and if they can keep you explaining yourself, they don't have to reflect on their own chaos. That's why restraint is power. That pause between trigger and response is where your self-respect lives. You may feel hurt, annoyed, even furious, but reacting isn't always the answer. Sometimes silence is your best boundary. Sometimes your refusal to play the game is the very thing that ends it. The moment someone learns what makes you flinch, what makes you yell, what makes you lose your balance, they've found a way to manipulate you. But when you master that urge, when you choose stillness over noise, you remind yourself, I lead my emotions, they don't lead me. You don't need to justify yourself to people who twist your words. You don't have to defend your character to someone committed to misunderstanding you. You are not here to explain your boundaries to those who benefit from crossing them. But this isn't just about others, it's also about you. Sometimes the trigger comes from your own history, an unresolved part of yourself, a belief you haven't questioned. When something hits too hard, ask, is this reaction about now, or is it about something old I haven't healed yet? That's growth. That's turning pain into insight instead of impulsive action. Emotional mastery isn't pretending you don't feel anything, it's choosing not to let every feeling become a fire. It's recognizing that peace is something you build with every moment you don't react just to satisfy your ego. Not everyone can meet you where you are. Some are still speaking from their scars, projecting their pain, fighting battles you can't even see. And if you try to win them over or match their chaos, you'll only lose sight of your own clarity. There is strength in walking away without a dramatic exit. There is power in choosing your dignity over a need to be right. Not every dig deserves a response. Not every raised voice deserves your attention. Some things don't need your energy, they need your exit. The most grounded people aren't cold, they're focused. They've learned that not everything that offends them needs to be fixed, that their peace is more precious than proving a point. So next time someone comes for your calm, don't fight to be heard, choose to be centered, because the more you honor your peace, the harder it is for chaos to find a way in, and that's not weakness, that's wisdom. You don't have to absorb someone's confusion to be close to them. You don't need to carry their chaos to prove you care. The more you choose your peace over performance, your boundaries over burnout, your clarity over chaos, the more your life becomes your own again. Let them say what they will, let them project what they must, but never forget, you are not here to carry pain that wasn't yours to begin with. You are here to stand tall in your truth even when their voice shakes in theirs.